The system isn't broken. It was built to exclude you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I want to share something with you that might shake up everything you thought you knew about entrepreneurship, ambition, and what it really takes to succeed in this world. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Yahya Hassan, a visionary who is transforming how we understand the barriers Black women entrepreneurs face, and more importantly, how we can dismantle them. Yahya is doing the work, the real work of making the world better. One conversation, one data point, one truth at a time. They are building bridges where walls have stood for generations, shining light into the darkest corners of systemic inequality and refusing to accept the narrative that Black women are failing when the truth is that the system is failing them. What they shared with me, what the research reveals, is both heartbreaking and empowering. It's a story about resilience, yes, but it's also a story about a system that's failing the very people it should be celebrating. So let me ask you this. What if I told you that the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in North America, Black women, are receiving less than 1% of venture capital funding? What if I told you that despite their education, their innovation, their grit, they're being systematically locked out of the resources they need to thrive? And what if I told you that this isn't just about individual bias or bad luck, but about structural barriers so deeply embedded that even spaces designed to support women entrepreneurs are excluding Black women? Let that sit for a moment. Because here's the truth: Black women are not failing. The system is failing them. And it's costing all of us trillions of dollars in unrealized potential, countless innovations that never see the light of day, and a generation of brilliant minds forced to choose between their dreams and their survival. Let me take you into the data because numbers don't lie. A groundbreaking report surveyed over 1,500 Black women founders in Canada to understand their entrepreneurial journeys, their challenges, and their funding experiences. These women are highly educated. Many hold bachelor's degrees or higher. They're starting businesses to fill gaps they see in their communities, to create solutions, to build legacies, and yet they receive just 0.2% of venture capital funding in Canada and 0.3% in the United States. 0.2%. Let that sink in. These aren't women who lack ambition or talent. 44% of the founders surveyed were already in the growth phase of their businesses. They were scaling, expanding, thriving despite the odds. But here's the kicker: over 60% of them had to rely on their own savings to fund their ventures. We're talking about women who poured up to $100,000 of their own money into their businesses because external funding was so difficult to secure. $100,000. That's not just a financial burden, that's a mortgage, that's a child's college fund, that's retirement savings, that's peace of mind. That's the nest egg they built for emergencies, for security, for the future. And they're draining it not because they're reckless, but because no one else will bet on them. And while they're doing this, while they're bootstrapping and hustling and sacrificing, their white counterparts are accessing networks, investors, and resources that remain largely out of reach for Black women. These founders face higher loan denial rates, limited access to venture capital, and exclusion from mainstream women's entrepreneurship networks. Even in spaces that claim to support women, Black women are being left out. Think about that. You walk into a room that says, "We support women entrepreneurs," and you're still invisible. You're still told, not here, not you, not now. Now, let's talk about what this really means, because this isn't just about money, it's about what money represents: access, opportunity, validation. When investors say no, when banks say no, when networks close their doors, they're not just withholding capital, they're withholding belief. They're saying your idea isn't worth it, your vision isn't valuable, you aren't enough. And for Black women who have spent their entire lives being told they have to work twice as hard to get half as far, this is just another weight on shoulders already carrying too much. But here's where it gets even more interesting. A global report tracking women's entrepreneurship across 51 countries found that women are achieving parity with men in innovative startups in 18 countries. 18. That's progress, right? But the report also makes it clear that women, especially Black women, still face persistent barriers to scaling: financing gaps, social pressures, structural obstacles. And the report urges us to move beyond one size fits all approaches and invest in local intersectional solutions. Because what works for a white woman in Silicon Valley doesn't work for a Black woman in Toronto or Atlanta or anywhere else where the intersections of race, gender, and geography create unique challenges. The barriers aren't the same. The solutions can't be either. So, what do we do? How do we fix this? Well, some organizations are trying. In Canada, there's an initiative that offers education, mentorship, and financial literacy programs specifically for Black women entrepreneurs. And it's making a difference. Hundreds of Black women have accessed these resources, moving from startup to growth phase, building businesses that matter. But here's the problem: demand still exceeds supply. The initiative has limited reach due to geographic concentration. Program criteria exclude some entrepreneurs, and there's insufficient support for mother entrepreneurs who are balancing childcare and business demands. The need is massive, and the resources are still too small. It's like trying to fill an ocean with a teaspoon. The intention is there, but the scale isn't. Now, I want you to think about what this means in the context of the soft girl era, because this isn't just an entrepreneurship issue, this is a survival issue. This is about Black women who have been taught their entire lives that they have to be strong, that they have to carry the weight, that they have to hustle harder than everyone else just to stay in the game. And when they finally decide to bet on themselves, to start a business, to build something from nothing, the system tells them, not you, not now, maybe never. And so they do what they've always done: they survive, they self fund, they sacrifice, they push through. But at what cost? The personal and economic cost is staggering. Women are draining their savings, putting their families at risk, and burning themselves out, all because the system refuses to invest in them. And this is where the soft girl era becomes revolutionary, because it's saying no more. No more sacrificing your peace for a system that doesn't value you. No more pouring from an empty cup. No more wearing the cape when the world won't even give you a seat at the table. But here's the thing: this isn't just about Black women, this is about all of us. Because when we fail to support Black women entrepreneurs, we all lose. Research shows that if Black women owned businesses achieved revenue parity with white women owned businesses, it would add $409 billion annually to the US economy. $409 billion. That's not a small number. That's transformative. That's jobs. That's innovation. That's economic growth that benefits everyone. That's housing developments, tech breakthroughs, community programs, healthcare solutions, educational platforms. That's the future we're leaving on the table because we refuse to invest in the people building it. So, why aren't we doing it? Why are we leaving this money, this potential, this brilliance on the table? Because the system is designed to protect itself, not to disrupt itself. And disruption is exactly what we need. We need investors who are willing to look beyond their own networks and biases. We need banks that understand that a Black woman with a business plan is just as worthy of a loan as anyone else. We need mentorship programs that are accessible, culturally relevant, and adequately funded. And we need allies, real allies, who are willing to open doors, share resources, and advocate for change. Yahya Hassan reminded me of something crucial during our conversation. Structural barriers, not lack of talent or ambition, are the main obstacles Black women entrepreneurs face. And that means the solution isn't about fixing Black women, it's about fixing the system. It's about dismantling the barriers that keep them locked out. It's about creating pathways, not obstacles. It's about investing in potential, not just pedigree. It's about recognizing that when we exclude Black women, we're not just being unfair, we're being foolish. We're throwing away brilliance. We're ignoring genius. We're choosing comfort over progress. And here's where I want to bring it back to you, to us, to this moment. Because the soft girl era isn't just about rest and softness and saying no, it's also about saying yes. Yes to supporting each other. Yes to amplifying voices that have been silenced. Yes to using our privilege, our platforms, our power to create change. Because if we're truly committed to healing, to wholeness, to reclaiming our joy, we have to recognize that our liberation is tied to the liberation of all Black women, including the entrepreneurs who are building the future we all want to live in. Think about the Black woman in your life who's been talking about starting a business. Think about the one who already has a business but can't seem to break through to the next level. Think about the one who gave up because the doors kept closing. What role did the system play in her story? And what role can you play in changing that story for the next woman? Because here's what I need you to understand: every time a Black woman entrepreneur is denied funding, we lose. Every time she has to choose between paying her mortgage and investing in her business, we lose. Every time she burns out because she's doing the work of 10 people with the resources of one, we lose. And every time we sit back and do nothing, we're complicit in that loss. So here's my question for you, and I want you to really sit with this. How can you, as a leader, as an ally, as a human being, help dismantle the structural barriers Black women entrepreneurs face? Can you advocate for inclusive funding in your workplace? Can you open your network to someone who's been locked out? Can you support culturally relevant mentorship programs? Can you invest not just your money, but your time, your energy, your belief in a Black woman founder who's trying to change the world? Because here's the truth: Black women don't need saving, they need support, they need access, they need a system that works for them, not against them. And if we can create that, if we can build that, we won't just change their lives. We'll change all of our lives. We'll unlock billions of dollars in economic potential. We'll see innovations we can't even imagine yet. And we'll create a world where Black women can finally stop surviving and start thriving. And I want to leave you with this: the soft girl era is not about opting out, it's about opting in to a world where rest is resistance, where softness is strength, where boundaries are sacred, and where Black women are valued, funded, and celebrated for the brilliance they bring. It's about creating a world where a Black woman with a dream doesn't have to drain her savings, sacrifice her peace, or burn herself out just to get a chance. That world doesn't exist yet, but it can. And it starts with you. It starts with the choices you make today, the doors you open, the investments you make, the voices you amplify, the systems you challenge. So I'm asking you right now in this moment, what will you do? Will you be part of the problem, or will you be part of the solution? Will you stand by and watch as brilliance is wasted, or will you step up and help build the world we all deserve? The choice is yours. The time is now, and the future is waiting.